Hello everyone, Dr. David Lucas here with some tips and tidbits. You know, I've done a lot of traveling in my life and have always appreciated the opportunity to do that. So I wanted to take just a moment to give you a tip and maybe talk about a few tidbits that might help you in your life. Before it's too late, try to take a trip somewhere, travel, because learning about other cultures and ways of doing things is very powerful. I'm at Souci. And here at this great palace in Germany, which the name is in French, there's a Chinese house, which is directly behind me. Now, why would you have a French name for a palace in Germany and a Chinese house all decorated out by a king who wanted to know more about the world around him? I think that's the important aspect. By observation, you can learn so much from other cultures about the way they do their everyday living. How they bring water to the palace and to the fountains, how they create their gardens. Not that any of us would have the opulence to duplicate a great big mansion like this place, but in a smaller scale we could learn to do plants, we could learn to do farming, we could learn to do a lot more about our own culture from watching others. I remember being in Mexico and wanted some fresh tortillas. How do you find the place that makes fresh tortillas? You sit quietly and watch until people start going by with tortillas. Follow your nose and follow them, and you'll find the little tortilla factory. Over and over again, as I've traveled, I've learned much about my own life and about human nature and about culture by just observing. Second, by participating. I think it's very important for all of us to learn about new cultures, music, art, and so forth. Here in this palace in Germany, there's this Chinese house, all decorated with all kinds of imagery, statues from China. But throughout these gardens and grounds are Roman statues and Greek gods. What does that say to us? That for centuries, cultures have borrowed from other cultures to become better. We can learn a lot by just borrowing from other cultures and by learning to sometimes just be a part of what they're doing, whether it's art, music, dance, and so forth. Finally, I think it's by entering into the culture. You know, I've always been a folknographer. That term folknography means studying the ways of the folk, writing down the ways of the common people. And I've learned a lot about windmills, about water delivery, about agriculture, about city systems, about transportation. It goes on and on. By asking the people. So these are just some tips and tidbits I wanted to bring you today from the culture of Germany, from the culture of China, from the culture of France, and a whole host of others like Greeks and Romans. We're not just one people, but a group, a world of people learning from each other to build a better world for all of us. I'm Dr. Dave Lucas, and this has just been another episode of Tips and Tidbits. Thank you.